forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based.
Hi, how are you guys?
Good, how are you?
Hi Mario, hi Princess, and hi Shreya. Wonderful. So what do we have today, guys? What's the question? What's struggling with EB1A right now?
Sure. So the first featured question is, can industry awards, notable media features, and a high salary alone, without publications or patents, be enough to meet the EB1A standard?
I think that's a wonderful question actually, because this is without referring to criteria. One is referring to criteria actually. But having said this, let's say for example, we are talking about you're talking about media features and high salary alone. Well, you need to have at least use three criteria to prove your extraordinary ability. So I always have been saying that you need to prove it. But the very fact that you got some industry award, it definitely means that there has been kind of a critical role that you would have performed for a distinguished organization. And if you are saying there is a notable media feature and a high salary, yes, of course. I mean, if there is something truly extraordinary about your work, if the fact you don't need a publication or a patent actually in that sense. The idea behind EB1A, I again repeat, you don't get it because of patent, because of award, because of, and for that matter, even original contribution. Just because you might have a patent. Basically, you get EB1A because you are a acclaimed expert in your field of expertise. Number two, US will benefit out of that expertise and you will continue in that field. So if you can prove it by using this, that's fantastic actually. So I think I would like to say this. So yes, the answer to that, if somebody wants a straight answer, it is yes. So let's move to the next.
Absolutely. So the next question is, I saw your recent post speaking about more restrictions from the DHS, Department of Homeland Security, for EB1A. Would you mind elaborating more on what is to come for EB1A? This is concerning as I have been working on my profile towards EB1A for the last 8 months.
Oh, wonderful. I mean, this is more of a speculation actually, because whenever there is any discussion in the government corridors on any particular aspect of, what are the policies or changes that we came across this is put up on the website. Also, there is a link given in the post that we have mentioned. There is also a Forbes article to that effect, and which even goes to an extent of saying that there could be even, instead of 3 criteria, can it go to 5 criteria? But to the best of my understanding, this would require a congressional approval. But if there are some policy changes, they are intending to codify it, and that's the whole approach actually. So, until we hear something concrete, this would be speculative. But to my understanding, by January, you should expect something. And if they are planning to implement it since January, you should expect something November or December actually. So to kind of review or something like that. So, we don't have much information about it, but definitely it looks like they're looking forward to change or modify something. Okay, let's move to the next question.
All right, so for the next question, if I lack formal awards, what alternative achievements can still satisfy the recognized prize or distinction criteria?
I mean, I am not sure. Just can you repeat the question? What's the question right now?
For if I lack formal awards, what alternative achievements can still satisfy the recognized prize or distinction criteria?
There is no distinction criteria for EB1 actually. I mean, if you recognize prize, yes. I mean, it is a very, if you don't lack, recognize prize or distinction criteria, there is no distinction criteria in EB1A actually. But definitely, if you are trying go for awards, it needs to be a proper award actually. Otherwise, you can substitute it under comparable evidence actually. I would say that actually. I will just put it that way. So, I mean, there is the very not too much speculation about it. But awards ideally should be an award, unless and until you get kind of a recognition from some governments or some kind of an appreciation from governor or appreciation from president or something like this, then it makes sense actually. But it has to be in a more of a public forum, and it should be open for all, that's for sure actually. Okay, so let's move to the next.
Certainly. So the next question is, if you've judged competitions or reviewed papers, how much documentation do you include to prove it?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. You remember one thing, that the evidence standard is more likely than not actually in this case. So what you need to do is that if you have reviewed papers, so basically I think I have a formula for that actually. Generally you should get into, so what have you done is you have judged competition or reviewed papers. So when, where, what, how. I think these are the 4 questions that you should try to answer. So you need to give evidence. When did you go there? How did you do it? How were you invited? What was the reason why you were invited? Was it a solicited or unsolicited? So all communications and the process that you have followed. And another important thing is that just being invited is not sufficient. You should have actually executed that initiative. Okay, that's the way it is actually. So let's move to the next question.
Of course. So the next question is, can company performance like revenue, growth, funding, or acquisition help me prove my critical role?
Okay. Now this is something which is going to be very interesting and important. I'm going to tell you. Criticality. There have been certain RFEs and certain denials and noids that I have seen recently. It first of all, it cannot be just company if it is part of your job, because of lately there was something, I think in one of the RFEs I had seen that it looks like the persons or beneficiaries role was important but not critical. Okay, now that's the way it was mentioned out there. So it is not so there is a difference between something being very important and something being very critical. It has to be critical to what? Critical to company, critical to project. And how was it critical? Were you just one of the team members or were you leading it? What would have been the impact that would not have taken place? The event would not have taken place. Now, what were the skill sets that you had used? What if you were not part of the project? No, that all has to be explained. Just revenue growth or something which is part of your job may not serve the purpose. Okay, so this is very important in this case. So let's move to the next question.
All right, next question. What specific indicators tell you that the candidate is truly ready to file versus needing more time to strengthen their case?
Okay, that's a nice question, but it is more of a sometimes intuitive, because it's not if you can gather all evidences. So fundamentally, if you ask me, like somebody asked about a question on critical role, if you can reach to a level wherein you are able to answer what, when, where, how for all the questions, okay, for all the criterias and for all the initiatives. Say you got 5 awards, you got 2 critical roles, you have got 2 salaries, you have got 2 original contributions, and if you can answer all these questions in granular detail for each one of the cases, I think it would suit the purpose. I would say that. So so fundamentally, if you are able to do this, definitely then you should go for more than 3 criteria, at least 4 or 5. I would recommend actually. So if you can do that, that will be wonderful. And we do have, like, when somebody is in the program, we get it assessed by an expert to kind of say that person who has filed over 50 successful petitions. We try to present you from that perspective actually. Okay, so let's move to the next question.
Absolutely. So the next one is, how should I structure my evidence to clearly show impact rather than just activity?
Okay, now this is a very good question, because activity is just a process and while impact is an output. Okay, now it is not only an output we are talking about, we are talking about significance. Now significance has 2 metrics, one is impact and second is influence. Influence is a more of a qualitative term, and what are the qualitative metrics you do to define it is more important. And how you, influence and impact is quantitative. So, for example, when we talk of quantitative metrics, it determines about what was the profitability, how many resources, time, percentages, value in dollar terms. Then, when you can show this, that's an impact that you have done. And influence is like, how breadth of the whole activity that you have done. I have a nice example to share with you. It's like, when you throw something in the water, okay, now you have done something. Now, what's the splash is like an impact. The splash that you create is an impact, and the ripples to how far it has spread is influence. The work that you would have done would have, kind of impacted or could have influenced even other fields. Now, that is important. Now, for example, there is a sports person. He wins an award or gets a medal. But remember one thing, he could become an icon of sportsmanship also. People in the corporate even start talking about it. If you have written some paper, now it is not only about your field, you have even kind of influenced how a good paper should be written. Why you may have acclaims, you may have received acclaim for that, but how successful you were in doing that is something that is, so influence and impact both have there by activity. It's a very nice question. I would like to say that actually. It's a very nice question. Okay, wonderful. So let's move to the next question.
Okay, so next we have what makes a recommendation letter truly persuasive, and how should I select who writes them?
Wonderful. I have always had a concept that, typically, I'm saying this is not absolute. Typically, in a EB1 petition, 3 people should know you, who can vouch for you, and who can kind of talk about you, and who know you. Now, second is about people who would know you professionally, completely professionally, and other three people would possibly, they would know you by virtue of your work, a completely independent expert. So these are 3. Now, a person, when you talk about a letter, I think the first part of the letter should talk about the person, how he knows you, and the locus of that person, or the credibility of that person, that what makes that person qualified to give that recommendation letter at the first place itself. The second is about you and your work, how that person has noticed your work. And third, most important, is that what is the person's reaction to your work. Now, if it is a critical role, then he can talk about how you made an impact and influence in the field. But if it is about expert opinion, then let us say original contribution. It could be speaking about your article. It could be talking about your judging role. Then in that case, we would go more granular and use certain frameworks. That, okay, fine, we have frameworks like Fisher's rule, that how that thing is original, something that you have done is original. So if it is about patent, then how the patent evaluation framework we have structured. So these are the frameworks that we offer to all our students who want to pursue EB1A, and that's how it is. So guys, if you want to reach out to us, we are happy, we'll tell you more about it. But this is not a question that can just happen in just one conversation. It is the entire program is about that. Okay, there are different frameworks. And also understand that the letters form a very significant role in your entire EB1A petition, because they are cornerstone of evidences. Because you have evidences which is based on facts, and these are the letters which clarify the kind of entire evidences for you actually. So this is very important. Let's move to the last question now for the day.
Okay, so for our last question, if my case gets an RFE, how do you approach rebuilding or reframing the narrative at the next league to strengthen it to refiling or appeal?
You see, this is on a case-to-case basis. I mean, what is that RFE all about? Is it about, normally you get RFE when you don't fulfill more than 3 criteria, and you get annoyed when, generally when you have fulfilled, and it's in the final merit determination, you have fulfilled 3 criteria and they move to, final merit determination. Now, having said this, our approach, I can't generalize it. There are some RFEs and noise we have felt that this would not be constructive to respond in that sense, because the original petition may not be in order. For whatever reasons, the presentation that was done, for example, your expertise could be wrong. For example, you may have chosen wrong criteria. Third, the criteria were not represented properly. It is not simply about the fact that request for evidence is that, oh, you forgot your September 2024 W2 was missed out or something like this. So it is not as simple as that. If it is as simple, then definitely we can say. but it requires revamping, then we always suggest to go for a fresh petition where you have to rebuild your profile that demonstrates your extraordinary ability. Now that's the way, kind of we like to do things rather than just trying to fit you into EB1A or trying to do that. So friends, that's all I have, kind of for the day. And I think anybody who likes have more questions or you want to come here on the show or place your questions. I think today there was a wonderful question, so I'm very happy about it. And it also stimulates us, it keeps us engaging with you, and we come to know what have been your concerns, and we are there to kind of help you. So if you want to join the program or have your questions featured here, we'll be more than happy to reach out to Mario, Princess, or Syria, and wish you all the best, guys. Okay, thank you, and have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining us today. If you have any further questions or need personalized guidance, please reach out to us. We are here to help you every step of the way in your journey towards achieving your American dream. Let's connect and make it happen together.